When we became Pixar in 1986, I was working on a little experiment of learning how to model in the computer. I was using the architect's lamp that was on my drawing table, since it was sitting right there, to learn how to model something in the computer. And Tom Porter, who worked with me at Lucasfilm, brought his baby son in, and I was so taken by how, when you look at a baby, what makes him so charming is how they're scaled very differently than an adult. Their heads are much bigger to their bodies and their arms. So after he left, I went back to this lamp that I was modeling, and I thought, I wonder what a baby lamp would look like. And I started scaling the arms much smaller, kept the shade big, and really kind of created this baby lamp. And then I started creating a piece of animation. And about that time, Steve Jobs bought us from Lucasfilm in February of 1986, and Ed Catmull came to me and said, let's do a film for SIGGRAPH that says who we are, that we're a new company, Pixar. So I looked at this baby lamp and this lamp, and I started crafting a story. I came over to Brussels, Belgium, to an animation festival after that, and was showing in a talk about computer animation at the animation festival. And a very famous Belgian animator, Raoul Servet, saw the work I was doing and came up to me afterwards and said, what's the story of this little lamp? And I said, oh, it's just kind of a character study. And he said, John, no matter how short it is, it should have a story, a beginning, a middle, and an end. And he was right. I came back from that trip, and I created the little story, and we made a film called Luxo Jr. It premiered in the summer of 1986 in Dallas, Texas, at SIGGRAPH, and it was the last film of the evening film show. Now, you have to understand, at that time in the computer animation world, there was lots of moving camera shots. There was real glitzy, glamorous, imagery of chrome and crystal balls and all that stuff. And I wanted to do more camera moves with it. But we didn't have any computers at the time in our little group. We were only 4 people in Lucasfilm, in Pixar, that was doing computer animation. And they said, John, you can't have any backgrounds with the lamp characters. I said, no backgrounds. And you can't move the camera at all. I can't move the camera. And so I said, at least can I have a floor so I can put the lights on? They go, you can have a floor. Okay. And so here was this kind of minimalist animation, about 1.5 minutes long, of this little film. It showed at SIGGRAPH, and by the end of it, 1.5 minutes, it was a standing ovation. And I was very excited. And then right afterwards, a guy by the name of Jim Blinn, who was one of the pioneers of computer animation, came up to me and said, John, I have a question for you. And I thought he was going to ask me about the software we used to create the shadows. It was some very innovative software being used to do this. And I'm not going to be able to answer his question. I know this. So he goes, John, was the parent lamp a mother or a father? And I knew from that simple question that we had achieved something computer animation had never done before. We had made a film that the story and the characters were more important than the technology that created it. And it's always viewed as kind of the Steamboat Willie of the computer animation world.